value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms this morning. Otherwise, probably the mostly sunny skies expected. An afternoon high around 85. Tonight, mostly clear skies with an overnight low around 58. And tomorrow, mostly sunny skies return. We'll see a high around 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
You've seen them come and go. Franchise testosterone clinics that pop up and then whoosh, they're gone. These franchise clinics quickly find out it's not easy to compete with Limitless Male. Limitless is locally owned and operated with a flawless protocol that has elevated them to be the best in men's testosterone replacement and sexual performance. By adding GLP-1s, our patients are losing weight in a healthy way. To feel your optimal best, schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
Demorne Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Owens on the ones and twos. As always, come take a weeknights. We just had the happy hour pre-recording. Nick Stainer, Jay Foreman on that one. And again, that will be every Tuesday and Wednesday going forward here for Take a Weeknights. You'll get Nick Stainer. He'll bring some guests on as well. And we'll have that from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. as we got the locker room taking over that old day slot. So the happy hour will take over some of these weeknight slots. But this is the Don't Punt Hour. We got the former Husker himself, Demorne Pierson-El, on a night. NFL has officially wrapped up for week one. That's where we're going to go today. We talked a lot of college football yesterday when we went around the land, talked about some of these surprising scores, in particular at Northern Illinois beating number 5 Notre Dame, Oregon barely escaping the clutches of Boise State, Iowa getting upset by their rival. But today's going to be about the NFL. And to start things off, we got to do it as much as it, hurts me to keep you guys. Good morning, Pierson-El. Before I do it, how's it going on this Tuesday night before we talk about the bad? It's going to talk about.
It's going good.
All right, let's talk about the bad. Which team do you think we're going to dive in on first?
Your Bears.
No, it's actually second. There's a team who's got it way worse. The Bears actually won. There's a team who got 42 put on one of your favorite quarterbacks in the league. The Carolina Panthers.
Ooh.
It's I don't know where to start. I don't know if it's a Bryce Young thing. It could be, but he's certainly not all of the problems there. What's going on with Carolina? We'll look at Bryce Young's stats for this game. I believe he was just a rough looking 13 for 30, only for 161 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Your guy, Derek Carr, beautiful game, clicking with the Saints already. 19 for 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, incredibly efficient, no interceptions. Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, give me the story there. What is going wrong there? Where is it, all the negatives coming from, where these guys just can't put together hardly any wins?
That offense is struggling. That offensive line, the protection, the run game, it's inconsistent. When you don't have a run game, as we very well seen by that team from the mountains, when you don't have a run game, and that doesn't mean that your passing game will operate. Bryce, you can ask Bryce to do better, but you have to help him out.
Yeah,
you got to give him a chance. I think that coach is in the right spot, but the Carolina Panthers are easily the worst team in the NFL right now. At once upon a time, it was the Bears, and we've seen the Bears, transform themselves with time. And it seems like, that's what's gonna have to happen, with Carolina. Carolina sold a whole house. They gave away one of the top, players with McCaffrey to get up under things. They gave away DJ Moore.
Or a fourth round pick at that. Excuse me, not a fourth round pick.
They just drafted. They just traded Burns away this offseason. Like that team. I'm not gonna say it needs better players, but it needs they need to. I'm not to say that they're not taking it serious. Before you build up a house and everything like that, you have to have pieces theirs, and either their pieces just isn't cutting it out, not paying attention to things, or you got to get better pieces in there. Free agency, you didn't traded everything. You're not paying nobody no money. So this offseason, you might have to break the bank for some things. You know what I mean? So it starts there. Like I said, it's not all on Bryce. Bryce inherited a terrible team. They were bad before Bryce. So it's not. And the guy before that got fired. So it's not like that they were a successful organization or anything like that. They still have major holes that you have to fix.
Yeah, and it feels like, you mentioned the Bears, and at least for the Bears' sake, the offense has always been, to say it kindly, abysmal. It's just been rough. They never really know what their identity is. And we're going to certainly talk about Justin Fields because he looked pretty damn good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But for the Bears, at least it's like, okay, the defense was good. The special teams was okay. The Panthers, they gave up 47. The defense was bad. The special teams was, still full of holes, giving up some good lanes. And the offense just doesn't know what they're trying to do. They're barely handing it off to their running back. Even though the running back was probably the best part of the game, they kept trying to throw Bryce Young to make all the big plays. If you have CJ Stroud, because a lot of Panther fans may feel like they're kicking themselves, does CJ Stroud fix this if he's on that roster?
No.
I don't think so either.
Again, CJ Stroud got thrown into the perfect storm, the perfect situation. That doesn't happen, all the time. He got a new coach. He got a new offensive coordinator that stems from, that West Coast system, that Sean McVay, LaFleur tree. He got, one of those coaches. And we've seen all the people from, McVay's tree that you could kind of say or whatnot, or the Kyle Shanahan tree, however way you want to go with it. We've seen what they've been able to do and go with places. They had some pieces there, they had a strong enough defense. They just needed the right pieces there. And I'm not saying that because I do like that. I do like that head coach. It's just a different situation. Like that team that was in Houston has a lot, other players that can contribute. Yeah, they traded for, Deontay. Deontay, honestly, he was struggling in Pittsburgh. They was pissed off with him, and we've seen, Pittsburgh get rid of these good wide receivers and go other places and don't pan out. We've seen it just about with every, the last past, 10 or so years. We've seen this numerous of times with these Pittsburgh wide receivers. So, I mean, good luck with that. You got Adam Thielen, he's probably, your best safety net.
Yeah.
And then you got the first round kid that you drafted out of South Carolina, who's honestly he's a lesser version of DK. That's what he is. Is he a freak of nature? Yes, but he's not. He's your true X, a big body receiver. It's gonna take some time for him, to get things. So I mean, you got that. Bryce's confidence is probably shot. He hears it all the time. He's miserable. He's gone from a place to where he wins all the time to where you're losing all the time, and people are pretty much putting it on you. Like it's a lot on him, but he don't got no help.
Yeah, I feel bad for Bryce Young. I don't know. You can throw Joe Burrow, you can throw Tom Brady back in the day. Like I don't know if there's any quarterback that can consistently win down there. Even with Burrow drafted to the Bengals. Like the Bengals up and down there, they were good at a period of time or whatnot, but they didn't have success right off the rip. They started having success probably like year 3, and he didn't already had a season-ending injury. The offensive line was what it was, and then he drafted his best friend from LSU, and then you started to see them take off or whatnot. So people are harping on him when we've seen. Look at Baker, what Baker did with Cleveland. Like Cleveland, his first 2 years wasn't amazing. Each year he progressed, and each year he won more games than he did the year before. So I don't understand why people are criticizing and so hard on him, and like we haven't seen some of these guys do things like this before, and with in worse situation. I think Cleveland was way worse than probably Carolina at the time, or they're probably equal about now. But you got to give him time to. The man has gone through turmoil. Coach got fired, new offensive. New whole staff, new everybody in there. So now what you thought and what you learned last year, you have a whole new thing. So it's a whole new learning curve, whole new seat, whole new offense to operate, whole new checks. You're not necessarily comfortable with it, with stuff and everything like that. Like it takes a lot. It's just not, oh yeah, you bring somebody in and it's supposed to work. It ain't defense. Defense is a little bit different than offense. Yeah, and that's the problem with the Panthers. It's like, man, you not only did you not get him help, you got rid of his help. And he's got to throw the ball on every pass he throws has to be a dot. 13 for 30. I don't know if he's going to pan out. I think a big part of it is his confidence. He's going to have to go somewhere where he rekindles that. But every throw he has to make, he's got to throw that thing on an absolute dot, because the separation from the wide receivers is little to none. And that's what adds to the interception, the poor completion rating. His QBR, it was a 10.4. My vertical doubles that, and I'm not a great athlete, and then some. Like, that just kind of tells you how awful
it's crazy, because just imagine if he was in a different team situations. Let's just say if he was in Minnesota. You could arguably say, okay, Minnesota might, have a chance to win their conference. But he's still the same player, just different situation, but yet I understand it's what can you do for me now? What can you show and everything like that? But he's struggling. He's out in the ocean treading water, and the sharks are circling. So it's not all on him. But yet I feel like he's not getting enough to kind of. Mac Jones was not doing anything awesome and whatnot, and people still were talking crazy about him. He's in a worse situation than Mac Jones was. Mac Jones was he was in Boston. He was with the Patriots, and you still have an awesome defense. You still got weapons and everything like that. That didn't turn out, well, and people talking crazy about Mac. So I think, people got to kind of pump the brakes a little bit, give them, a little bit more time, let him get settled and comfortable with the same offense.
And, I'll be honest, when I hear a lot of the conversations about the Carolina Panthers, I don't see a lot of people hating on Bryce Young. I feel people just feel bad. They feel bad for the guy.
Man.
Because there's so much he has to do. It kind of feels like the Huskers offense in some of the years where it's like, all right, Adrian, it's on you. Like the defense is going to do their part. The offense, you're going to have to be our leading rusher. You're going to have to be our leading passer. You're going to have to make some phenomenal plays. The offensive line is going to do you a lot of favors. You're going to have to scramble, make some miraculous, make magic happen out of nowhere. And in the NFL, that's a lot harder to do. These guys are dialed in. It's a lot harder. I mean, we saw that with Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
Him scrambling out of the pocket does not look the same when you're going up against NFL caliber. You're not going to be able to get away with them the same way you're able to get away from those edge rushers, as he was in USC. Like, it's just an immense amount they're asking from him. And I'll be honest, Matt Rule's record, as much as people are saying that's a negative thing, one of the things you may worry about, that's starting to look like a good thing. The fact that he was able to get as many wins as he could with that Panthers franchise. Like, it's crazy to look at this team fall from the Cam Newton era. And it really just sucks, that injury from Cam Newton. Everything just kind of fell apart from there. They've never been able to get back. They've gotten some good talent, but they just haven't been able to get enough in the right place at the right time. And one great player goes, they try to get the future in, and it's just so disjointed. Something's in the water in Charlotte, because the Hornets got the same kind of problems going on where they get some good talent and then the season starts and you're just lost and nothing's clicking. So I don't know what the next move is for the Panthers. I think it's going to be a long season. I feel bad for Bryce Young. I can't even rank what he's going to be yet, because there's just nothing out there for him. Like, again, it's a big deal when your wide receivers got no separation. Like, it's hard for me to just grade Bryce Young's talent because he's running for his life.
Yeah.
His wide receivers aren't open. They actually think they can run the ball successfully, but for whatever reason, they kind of got away from that in week one. Part of it, you had to score points, right? The Saints were lighting you up. You couldn't run the ball if you're going to get back into that game. I think that's all I got to say on the Panthers. Hopefully Bryce Young can get his confidence back. Might have to be with the new team, though. I'm just that down on the Panthers. Wasn't high on them coming in the season, but man, that was a butt whooping to start things off. Let's talk about the Saints. Derek Carr, is the Saints going to be the sneaky team of the offseason where it's like, we were excited about the Falcons. What are these guys building? Obviously, the Eagles.
I don't think so. They played a tremendous game, but again, look who they played at. DC's my guy. Love him to death. But they're gonna have to do that more consistently for me to believe that. And I'm just everybody could. You're good. No team is gonna look as good or as at their best after week one.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
That's just what it is. Like, you can try and recreate it. You might have games where you play good, but you're fresh, no injuries, no tackling. Like, no team is going to feel how they did, in week one. A lot of things, tendencies get picked up. Certain things get implemented in the game plan or whatnot. I don't think they're a sneaky team at all.
I'm hoping they are, because I actually do like Derek Carr a lot as much. And the Raiders felt disjointed, but he feels like a leader. You hear the guys around Derek Carr, like you yourself, but you're not the only one that says that. Like, I listen to the guys that play with the quarterback, and if they're all saying the right things about his leadership and his drive, and just his, just his aura. It seems like a weird thing to say, but quarterbacks got to have that to have a team believe.
He's a heck of a quarterback, and if you don't have that, look at the Raiders now. Look at their situation.
I'll start from Minshew.
You know what I mean. So a lot goes through that room, and if you don't have the right guy with the right tools and giving him, the things that he needs to do and whatnot. Derek was shredding people, but that's Derek. Like, he's gonna get you in the right spot. He can make every throw and whatnot. Just at times that he might be inconsistent or whatever, but it's better than what you've had, in the previous years outside of Breeze. You know what I mean? But they better watch out, because Tampa Baker's rolling. And with that offense, with Godwin back and Mike Evans, you better watch out for them. They were a sneaky team last year. They got hot And if they can replicate that again this year, they could win their conference and be right back in the mix of things again.
Yeah, the Buccaneers are going after my heart because they also picked up Ben Stilley, active on the 53-man roster, former Husker. They got a lot of former Huskers on that team. They're the 49ers of the old days when Nebraska was at its peak. They got a lot of former Huskers. So if you like watching the alumni, the Buccaneers might be the team to watch. Real quick, we got some time left. Kind of purposely picked this to be the last thing, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. They won the game. The process of the game is I am so excited to watch this team. Oh my God, this is terrible. What's happening right now? To how in the hell did we win this game? And you get the iconic shot of Will Levis on his knees after he threw the pick. Probably could have made the tackle if he didn't drop to his knees. But they come out of that game somehow pulling it off. Big help from the defense, a big help from the special teams. Offense really didn't do much, if we're just being honest. 17-24. The Chicago Bears win at 2 out of 3 phases in the game. They win defense and win special teams.
And again, I told you there's 3 phases. If you win 2 of them, and you do your job, typically, you can pull things out. Will early on played well. They jumped up on him early. He looked to be, something different. He just has to maintain. I think it's a learning lesson from him. Rookie mistakes, and those will still come out. Year 2 with stuff, you still adjusting with things and whatnot. New offensive coordinator, new head coach. Just understanding, again, a whole different offense. But the Bears got bailed out.
Yeah, they did.
They got bailed out. You got your offense didn't technically produce any points.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, real quick, 10 carries for 30 yards. They just that offensive line, you can have all the talent outside of that. If you don't have that offensive line to kind of give you to protection and get going, that's fine and dandy. And we've already know that, Caleb, you can say whatever. Oh, he's shown flashes and all he does that. I told you, it's different once they throw in, they're scheming you up and they'll make it look like one thing and it's not that, and you uncomfortable and it's inconsistent. Now you thinking, and it's not typically what you thought it was. He's not comfortable yet. He's not adjusted. He's not, found his groove, and that's going to take a while. It was a terrible outing for him. That's just what it was. Yeah, it was. No question. His stats are right up there with Bryce Young's.
Yeah,
he's one throw away, if it's an incompletion, to having pretty much the exact same stat line outside of the 2 interceptions. But he was taking some really bad sacks. Again, I kind of mentioned that. Scrambling, kind of playing like he was at USC. Whole different ball. Those guys are going to catch up to you.
That can only last for, for so long. You know what I mean? Like that. People are on that. You got grown men out here that's been doing, good in that league for a long period of time. And you think you're just going to show up and just, like college, it don't work like that. Hopefully a better showing from him to come, but that's not what they drafted him for. But
No.
It's not.
No, 14 for 29, 93 yards. No interceptions. You'll take the no turnovers. Again, if you throw an interception, you probably find a way to lose that game, or at least maybe in overtime, or it's down to the wire. The defense totally bailed him out. They didn't have to do anything really. It was the defense, special teams, getting them in good field position where they can at least try to field goal or very short yardage, try to get a touchdown. So the Chicago Bears, I'm not going to panic. Like you said, I think it does take some adjustment. Theo Williams, week 2, how long do things take to click for what you think should be a rookie quarterback?
It just depends. Overall, fairly across the NFL, I wouldn't say it was sloppy, but at times it was very inconsistent. And you just kind of got to fix that. You can't have that, in that type of game. You got an offense like Baltimore, got illegal formations. They got 3 of them, I think, in the first drive.
I remember one. There's 2 teams, the Ravens and I think it was the Browns. There was 22 illegal formation calls. The Browns and Ravens got 11 of them.
So it's that was throughout the whole, NFL. And I think, people will come back week 2 and bounce back and clean those type of mistakes up. But typically, I would say about a month, maybe 5-6 weeks for them to kind of get comfortable and understand you, like especially when you play your conference once or twice or one time already, and it comes back around and you kind of see them, you kind of expect some things and whatnot. But just understanding the little things, getting to a whole new area, game day experience of stuff, play calls, what you're going to see, just kind of finding your routine. It takes a minute to kind of figure out, what worked for you. You try things out and you change it up. You're more comfortable with what the calls that's going in. You're more comfortable with understanding, what offenses or defenses are trying to do against you. So I would say about 5 to 6 weeks, you'll start to see him, start trending up.
Yeah, and let's, hopefully for my sake, it's quicker than that, but that feels like a realistic timeline. It's I don't know, arrogant if you want to call it, or just not proper belief to think your rookie quarterbacks can go in there and light up the world. The greatest quarterbacks don't even do that. You just mentioned Joe Burrow. He wasn't lighting it up when he first got there. It takes time. So luckily, I'm still not sure where I'm at with Eberflus, but damn, he gets that team to fight. Like, they don't give up, even though that offense was abysmal. That defense and special teams did enough. Like, they never backed down in that entire game. So there's some belief factor, at least in that locker room. I know it's early, but they still, despite that offense looking atrocious, that team didn't give up. So maybe that's points for Eberflus, but that offense is going to have to come along sooner than later if they want to be a threat in the NFC North. Especially, we'll talk about it, the Packers. I'm happy. I never want to see a quarterback get hurt. Jordan Love, luckily, I mean, if you saw the video, it made you sick. It looked gross. You see that knee just pop. It looked like it could have been a season-long injury. So luckily, it looks like it's going to be shorter, but the Packers are going to have some questions. Can they hang on long enough for Jordan Love to get back under center? So we're going to talk about those guys for sure. But yeah, with the Chicago Bears, I'm not sure what it's going to be like if that defense, special teams, if they can hold on long enough until Caleb Williams gets comfortable. But they did enough to win week 1. And, I don't think the Titans are a joke. I think that's a team that's going to have plenty of games where they're going to be just
they're going to be a tough team. They're going to be a tough team regardless. They're built a little bit different. I think they just got to get, consistency with them.
Absolutely. But that being said, we'll throw it to our first break here. We're going to keep going down the NFL train. Like I said, I teased it. We're going to talk about the Packers. And then I also want to talk about the Browns, Deshaun Watson, because you mentioned Baker Mayfield. I've been on this forever. They should have never got rid of Baker Mayfield, not because Deshaun Watson's bad, but Baker Mayfield fits your offense to a T, and you moved on from him. The Browns take a bad loss to the Cowboys. Cowboys, you can say it's a bad loss. Their offense was great last year, kind of picked up where they left off. Well, I shouldn't say that because they left off in the playoffs, picked up where they left off in the regular season. The Cowboys, there should be a good team going forward here, but the Browns really didn't stand a chance, at least in that first game. So don't go anywhere. We're going to keep talking about some NFL games here on the Dump Punt Hour with the former Husker himself, DeMornay Pierson-El.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Sea-Doo dealership. Score up to $300 off or a free 2-year warranty on 2024 Sea-Doo Sparks and $500 off or a free 2-year warranty on all other brand new 2024 Sea-Doos. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of September. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with a large selection of motorcycles and watercraft in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Nebraskans are proud of their public schools. Hi, I'm Tim Royers. As a Nebraska Teacher of the Year, I traveled across the state and saw the value public schools bring to our communities every day. They're where our kids get the skills and opportunities they need to succeed. They're where families come together to enjoy a musical, cheer for our teams, talk with teachers, and build trusted relationships. Strong public schools create strong communities.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and Truck Month is back. We have absolutely gigantic savings right now at Coppell. They are offering $12,500 off on select new pickups. That is not a mistake. You heard right. $12,500 off list price right now on select new pickups. Those discounted units, though, will not last long. These are all manager specials. You have to come in now, so hurry in down 144th Street or shop online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G35609 must trade.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
If you're looking for tickets to the Colorado game, 93.7 The Ticket has you covered. There are 3 different ways to win one of 4 pairs of tickets. 1, like our 93.7 The Ticket page on Facebook and share the post. 2, follow our 93.7 The Ticket account on Twitter and repost the announcement post. 3, come on down to 1040 O Street, buy a drink from the mill, and enter your name in the box. All drawings will be done at noon on Friday. Get entered now.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Old School with DP and J.
And, this part of camp it happens in high school camp, when they have a certain amount of time before their game, before school starts and all that. And then it happens in college and it happens in the pros. I had more fights with some of my good friends, the guys that I'm considered lifelong friends at this point in camp, than with some over-energized rookie trying to make a name for himself. Seriously.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Sea-Doo dealership. Score up to $300 off or a free 2-year warranty on 2024 Sea-Doo Sparks and $500 off or a free 2-year warranty on all other brand new 2024 Sea-Doos. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of September. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with a large selection of motorcycles and watercraft in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into Don't Punt Tower. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Former Husker of the Morning, Pierson-El streaming in. If you guys want to join in, use the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, channel 961. If you got Allo cable, that is the way to go. Started him in text line as well, 402-464-5685. All right, talking NFL here. We're going to keep it rolling on the NFL. We mentioned the Green Bay Packers. They lose in a tough one to the Eagles down in Brazil, which they wore green. I'm just saying. I know that I feel like that whole conversation was blown up a little bit. I hate to be that guy, but I think we're building that one up to be much more than it was. That's a nice city in Brazil, and nothing bad happened. So I'm glad. I wasn't really thinking about leaning this way because of the conversation.
I wasn't
we feel good
expecting.
about league expansion the way they're going about it right now. Playing in Brazil, we had that one in Mexico City. We got games in Germany, London. I might be missing some UK as well. Do you kind of like the way the NFL is going about this league expansion?
First off, I wasn't expecting anything bad to happen. They're not going to put themselves in situations for things to happen, but they were advised not to do certain things and not to wear certain things. So that's that. Secondly, I think it's good. You get a chance to expand, this American game that on a different stage. I mean, now the Olympics has flag football to where NFL stars, could potentially participate in that. So I think it's good. People travel, get out of the United States. They see other things, they see other cultures, they see other fans, they see the world. So I think it's good. I like it.
Yeah, I love it too, especially when you see. If you're unsure about it, go see some of those games that they do play across the border. The fans are there. I mean, they love it. In Brazil in particular, they're showing the stats about the NFL interest. Like, it blew up. There's a reason they're like, you know what, let's play a game there, because they're all of a sudden became a fan base of the NFL that erupted. There's good ways to go about it and there's wrong ways, but I don't think they've made really too many missteps right now. The only time it's tough is if it's your team and it's a home game and you want that home game. And you got to play in a neutral site. That's the only times where it gets a little hairy, where it feels like it's a disadvantage. But as far as spreading the league goes, I like it. All right, the Packers, they nearly get a win over the Eagles. Saquon Barkley gets 3 touchdowns. He looked great in his debut. What do you make of the Packers? They lose Jordan Love in that game. He wasn't playing all that great, but I'm not going to harp on it. I think he would have been fine going forward. But about 3 to 6 weeks, I'm going to guess probably closer to that 6-week range before he really starts getting back into things. Can the Packers hold on long enough? Because their wide receiver core was impressive. Despite the age, they got some guys at wide receiver. Can the Packers hold on long enough till Jordan Love gets back?
I think so. They look good. Jacobs, he's had a slow start, but they looked well. You got, even if Willis goes in there and handles things, or they bring back somebody, one of the 2 dudes that they cut, or somebody, one of the quarterbacks on the practice squad to kind of weather the storm. I think they're good enough to, let's just say if it's 6 games, if you win 3, you're not out of contentions of anything. So it's an uphill battle, but I like what they showed. I like what they were able to accomplish. The receivers weren't, having any diva issues or anything like that. Everybody was eating. The ball was getting spread around a lot. The running game, started to explode. That's one of them games where, the Eagles just had Saquon, and I know the Giants will probably kicking themselves for that whole transaction and letting that go down. But Saquon, did what he did. You had AJ Brown do what he did. The team just made a few more plays than you. But that's a team that you can very well see, in the NFC Championship. So it's one of those ones that you kind of remember that feeling and remember what they, like to do and whatnot. And you could very well see them, postseason.
Yeah, and I had to walk. Never thought I'd be in this situation, but I had to walk some of my Packer fans off the cliff there. It's horrible as it is. You never see one players get injured, but it happened early enough in the season to where, like you said, you win 3 games, even if you're 500, even if you're just below 500, you'll probably be all right. As long as you don't go 0-6 and you don't give them a mountain to climb back up from, which I think the Packers are well-rounded enough to where they could have a Bears-esque game where even if the offense isn't clicking on all cylinders, they can still sneak away with some wins. So I think that defense is good. I just think the Eagles' offense is better. And special teams, I think they're all right there. So if you're a Packers fan, there's still plenty of season left. You'll probably get Jordan Love back, week 5, week 6. So I think the Packers will actually be all right, especially with the NFC North. We're going to see what happens, how it shakes out, but it feels like a good situation. There was enough good outside of the quarterback situation to where I think they probably will be able to get close to 500, if not 500, maybe even over. That being said, moving on here, next team, got to talk about them, the Browns. I still hate the move to get rid of Baker Mayfield. You finally got the quarterback that you've been begging for, and you kicked him out. Not to say that Deshaun Watson's a bad quarterback, but unless you got a generational talent where you are certain that this guy is going to be the guy, you don't make that move. They made the move. Deshaun Watson doesn't fit that offense, in my opinion. He has a rough game. There was a couple of picks, and they end up losing that one to the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys is a good team, but still, I'm just not a fan of the Browns and how they've kind of handled that whole situation. Thoughts on the Browns, Deshaun Watson, can that team get it going here? I know the Cowboys are a tough team, but it was not a great showing for Watson.
You would like to hope so. Deshaun Watson has shown the ability to be a good player for whatever reason. That relationship or whatever you want to call it is just not working. You have a top 5 defense, and you see with a struggling offense without a Nick Chubb. And I'm not saying it's all on him because there were plays that was dropped. I think Amari dropped a wide open touchdown. And whatnot. His players have to step up, but there's no rhyme or rhythm to that whole team. And I don't know if that. I think they're all just frustrated, and you might see something soon boil over. But Cleveland was a good squad. Joe Flacco came in there and did what he did, but you can see with if you don't have the right quarterback, no matter what, if you do have a top 5 defense or whatever, if you don't have the right guy or if you don't have the right person, calling the plays and moving your offense up and down, or you don't have the guys making plays and whatnot, it don't matter if you went to the playoffs last year. It doesn't matter if you consistently won more than 10 games the past couple of years, or if your coach won Coach of the Year a year or two ago. It doesn't matter. They're not hitting. They're not consistent. There's no, on the offensive side, there's no rhythm. There's no togetherness, no cohesiveness. There's none of that. I'm not saying that they're spiraling out of control, but it doesn't look like an NFL offense at all. And we've seen what they look like and can move the ball. You've added some very good pieces with Jerry Jeudy, on the offensive side and whatnot. But for whatever reason, it's hard for y'all to score. It's hard for y'all to move the ball. It's hard for y'all to be an effective offense. And if you don't have at least an effective offense, it doesn't matter. We've seen that with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had these past couple of years. They've had a Pittsburgh style defense, and yet you still miss the playoffs or a game or two out, or lose games that you probably should have won. So they have to get that fixed ASAP.
Yeah, I hope they get it fixed, because I've always kind of rooted for the Browns. It's one of those teams you feel bad for, not into the same pity that you feel for the Panthers, but the Browns, part of it, I am upset because it feels like they had the answer and they just didn't see it. They thought they could do better. Baker Mayfield fits exactly what you want to do. You want to run that gritty, play action style offense where you make it those third and reasonables, third and shorts. Baker Mayfield's perfect in those situations. Deshaun Watson, we saw it with the Texans. He's that wide out, deep threat. He likes those explosive plays. There's a reason why it looks so good with the Texans and why it isn't clicking with the Browns. It's just a different offense that, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily fit his style. And
it's a different type of style. That's exactly what it is. If you look at, the whole AFC North, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, the Bengals. I said the Bengals twice. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and them. None of those squads are spread out and aired out. They're all smash mouth football. They all got strong tight ends. They all got good running backs, and they all got a 1-2 punch typically at receiver. They all are very, very similar, and that's just not, Deshaun's style. Just Deshaun's style is more so a spread offense, it out, RPOs, and it's something has to change. Like he doesn't look comfortable at all. He looks frustrated. So I mean, you give all that money and invest into that, and the return on that hasn't quite come back. So hopefully they get it figured out. Hopefully, they change things up. Maybe things get different, when Chubb comes back, because that's a staple and an identity of their offense. They look different, when Deshaun was there with him and Kareem Hunt, but you don't have those, bell cows to kind of set up certain things. So it looks awkward.
Yeah, looks really awkward. And, you don't have to be an NFL guru to figure out that offense doesn't look right. Like, it's just not clicking, like you said. The run game that was so efficient back in the day when you had Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Now you got Jerome Ford, former Chicago Bear Jerome Ford. You got some guys in there, but it just looks dysfunctional. So I'm down on the Browns, not because I don't like the quarterback. I just don't think it fits him. And we see what that happens in college football and NFL. If your quarterback does not fit the system, does not matter how good they are. It's not going to click the way you want it to. That's exactly what's happening. Speaking of some teams, you mentioned the Steelers earlier. Justin Fields, he got to start in week 1. Sounds like he's going to get to a start again in week 2, and he looks pretty good. 17 for 23. Wasn't asked to do a ton, but did enough. He was efficient. That was always the biggest complaint of Justin Fields, was his efficiency. He was about 73% completion rating, a good QBR. They looked good. They win that one over the Falcons. People are high on the Falcons with Kirk Cousins, but Fields is the better quarterback out of the two. Kirk Cousins, 16 for 26, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, but 2 picks. Justin Fields, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but again, kept the ball clean, no turnovers, 17 for 23, still able to pick up more yards on 17 completions than Kirk Cousins, and he's probably going to be the starter again for week 2. The Pittsburgh Steelers, is Justin Fields the answer for that team? Does this team can surprise some people with Fields at the quarterback position?
Honestly, that's one of those fool's gold situations, and it has nothing to do with Justin Fields. It's the offensive coordinator. Yeah. Arthur, you got those type of pieces, and you don't, technically put up any numbers. Your quarterback doesn't score anything, and I know they had some explosive plays called back and everything like that. So I'm just not. I'm not sold on the offensive coordinator. That offensive coordinator might be the same as the guy that they got, the Canada guy. But I like Fields. They're not asking him to do too much. He looks confident. He was still making plays. He still had a few mistakes with certain stuff, stepping up into the pocket, maybe just doing a tad bit much at times, but he controlled the game. He made some elite throws, and I think you kind of harp on that. You got a downhill running back. You got a tandem of running backs. You got a strong tight end. You got some receivers that he can throw down. He can throw it down a yard too. So I like Fields there. I just hopefully he does better.
Yeah, Steelers. I'm curious. Do you think Fields is able to hold on to that starting spot, or do you think Russell Wilson is going to take over when he's healthy?
It depends. If they're on a win streak or whatnot, I mean, why change it regardless of what things are or whatnot? I mean, the kid got you that far, and I think Tomlin is an excellent evaluator of that and kind of knowing the locker room. And a coach like that, Justin Fields needed. He's gonna tough love you up. He's gonna correct you, but he's gonna look out for you. But that's a decision that it depends on honestly how good the team overall plays. Like I said, if they continue to win, if they, regardless of even if it's not technically pretty, but the team is rallying behind him, why change? Unless if Russ plugs in and it just amplifies things and take things off, but that quarterback battle went longer than it needed to. Clearly, they were a lot closer, and you kind of felt like that Tomlin was feeling Justin Fields a little bit more. So I mean, that's a tough situation to kind of be in, but. If the young guy is winning and the team is surrounding him or whatnot, I mean, stick with him.
Yeah, and you're right. If there's anybody who's good at identifying the culture of the locker room and what that locker room needs, it's Mike Tomlin. There's a reason that no matter what roster you give him, you might even be able, that might be too much. You might be able to give the Panthers a roster, and he might be able to get that team to 500, but that's,
he gonna bring in some Pittsburgh type guys. I mean, it's a reason he's never had a losing season. It's a reason why he's been there 15, 16 years. Super Bowl winning championship coach. You know that they have a style to play on the defensive side, and that wins them games. Like when you play Pittsburgh, you know what you're getting yourself into. That is a backyard brawl. Those guys are well coached. They get after it. And you can never count them out of things.
Speaking of knowing what you're getting into, this one we're going to talk about this quarterback and this team. This blows my mind because you kind of knew what it was. You're really hoping on the upside of things with this contract. This guy gets $160 million 4-year extension. Daniel Jones on the New York Giants. Oof, abysmal start. And you're paying him a lot of money, and you put a lot of faith in him. They lose to the Vikings 28-6. He didn't even get a touchdown, a couple field goals. He was 22 for 42, 186 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Sam Darnold on the flip side, 19 for 24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. He does throw the 1 pick, but overall, pretty damn good game for Sam Darnold. So your take on Sam Darnold looks better and better, at least as that first week goes. But man, Daniel Jones.
I told you, like, Sam isn't a bad quarterback. He was just in bad situations. Even in Carolina, he still had weapons, and he still had DJ Moore. He had Christian McCaffrey. He had what's the guy that's in Buffalo that played at Ohio State? I can't think of his name. It's gonna piss me off. Curtis Samuel. He had weapons. He had weapons there. So I mean, people are looking. He can win you some games. But Daniel Jones, coming off a ACL injury, speaking from experience, like it's a mental game. But you had, a lot of time. You had training camp to kind of figure and get things. It might take him a little bit to kind of get in his groove because that's not an easy battle. But if you're not playing well, if you don't continue to play well, that type of play will get your coach and your GM fired. They put their hopes, dreams, families, and everything on the line for you. And I like Brian. I think Brian is a good coach. I think, the places he's gone, the quarterbacks that he's helped and whatnot, he's done an excellent job. But for whatever reason, it's not changing. He had one good year, which his agents got him what they were supposed to, but it's going to be a rough season for them if he doesn't get consistent, if he doesn't finish drives, if he doesn't do his job of what he's supposed to do on the NFL as the face of a franchise. I'm surprised more people aren't on him more than they are the guy in Carolina.
Yeah,
he's been in the same system. He's had weapons. They were a playoff team and whatnot and everything like that. And it's like you still kind of consistently show up as that. I'm kind of starting looking at you kind of like I don't think you might not be what we thought you were. But like I said, I understand the battling back from a knee injury and whatnot. Again, and it is the first week. They revamped the offensive line. They got some weapons. The hit with Saquon hurts a lot. He was the face of the organization, but Daniel has to play better. He's been playing too long like that, and people are getting tired of it.
It's so crazy to me that they let the face of the franchise go and Saquon. He was the reason why the G-men last year were so electric. And Daniel Jones, I think he played better than his average. Because even without the injury, if you want to scrub that injury out of existence, I still don't like that contract. I just think there's quarterbacks you can go out there and get that can do just as much or, if not even better. He had a good season last year. There's definitely some games where it showed its ugly head where you're like, maybe we're not sure, but he gets the contract. 4-year extension, like I said, $160 million. You got rid of the face of your franchise. You talk to Giants fans, they're pissed. They hated that from day one. Like, you needed to keep Saquon. He was the life.
Stable. Like he was your for sure. And I understand you might not want to just pay that your quarterback that much just to hand the ball off. But I mean, outside of Neighbors, really your wide receiver core necessarily doesn't pose a threat. You don't have, Sterling Shepard back there anymore. You don't have an Odell Beckham there anymore. Slayton has been he was hot and kind of stalled out a little bit, inconsistent with catching and whatnot. Wandale was coming off of injury. He's dynamic and whatnot, but he was hurt. So you still are trying to figure out that piece of things and whatnot. Nothing to bash them or whatnot, but they're kind of inexperienced. Hyatt was supposed to come in and be your deep threat and whatnot, and it's it hasn't quite hit it. And is that because of their fault? No, it might be because of who you have at quarterback. The team looked honestly better with Tyrod Taylor there as much as but you had to cut Tyrod to build the confidence and to put everything into Daniel, and you might be staring at a difficult situation later in the season. Clearly, if they were 2 picks higher, they would have got a quarterback. So clearly, they're kind of he's on his last leg out, probably.
I think so. They're an anomaly. I just don't understand the mindset of the Giants. The letting go of Saquon Barkley is the most egregious thing to me. Is like, that is your face, that's your moneymaker. The fan base loves him.
It wasn't to them though. I mean, he stepped up when Daniel was gone, and they thought, the year before it was kind of hoping that Daniel, gets back to the year that they had that that good playoff run. But he's been inconsistent since he's came in the league. I think he's maybe had 2.5 good years, or one good year and a decent year. He hasn't been consistent at all. And for whatever reason, it's not translating into wins. And you're in a place where they, think of Super Bowls. They're excellency, a higher standard. And if you're not doing that, again, like I said, that door will become open, and that's when you have different coaches coming in. That's when you got these draft picks coming in or whatnot. And before you know it, you might be looking at a situation to where you're like the Chiefs when they drafted Patrick Mahomes. You got Alex Smith that got paid. Mm-hmm. Alex wasn't a terrible quarterback. He was winning. They just couldn't get over the edge. He's not near as good as Alex, but you'll be keeping the seat warm for whoever the next hottest talent, coming out of the draft here pretty soon if you don't get your act together.
Yeah, and again, the last thing I got to say about Saquon Barkley and the Daniel Jones success that we saw last year. You look at Daniel Jones' stats, you might be like, no. $160 million sounds right. Look at the numbers. I don't think people realize how great of a receiving back and how great of a safety net it was to have Saquon Barkley as one of your checkdowns. He doesn't drop passes. His yards after the catch are insane. He was such a safety net for Daniel Jones down after down that if he wasn't getting the right read, he's messed up on his progressions. He's not looking in the right places. Okay, I know where Saquon is. Boom, dump it down. Yards after the catch. All of a sudden, those numbers start looking a lot better, even if you didn't make the right read. So again, I can't get over them not keeping Saquon. All right, I wasn't let you get away with it. Raiders Chargers. Jim Harbaugh starts his Chargers debut with the win for the Chargers. Justin Herbert, he looks all right. 17 for 26, 144 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. The Minshew experiment wasn't a terrible game, but 25 for 33, 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Devontae Adams quiet in that game. Give me the Raiders rundown. What'd you think of them?
What the hell are we doing? You got the best receiver in the game. I don't care what nobody says.
I agree.
And this is 2 years in a row to where, like that's – and I'm not saying you got to force him the ball or whatnot, but you got to get him involved. You got to move him around. You got to do things different. He is, one of the heartbeats of that team. When you see the Raiders outside of Max, you think of Devontae. That's just what it is. And for him to be, one of the biggest stars, one of the faces of the NFL, and you're not using him, you're just wasting it. Like, come on, we got to do better than that. That's not how you want to start off the season. The offensive line has to do better because that Chargers defense, got after them. Herbert's not going to do anything pretty in that offense. Harbaugh's going to run the ball. He's going to control. The possession. He's gonna score, and they're gonna play good defense. That's what they're gonna do. But the Raiders have to come out and play better than that. That was not Raider ball at all.
It's disappointing, and I'm not just saying this because I got Adams on my fantasy football team. But it's what they do to him is
lackluster. It was not anything Al Davis had wished. People are frustrated, but they will get it together. I think just this upcoming week, they'll kind of like, all right, reality is what it is, and they'll be pissed off and get after somebody.
Yep, and if I feel bad for Zamir White, the running back, feels like he's going to get the Josh Jacobs kind of treatment where the holes just aren't there, and even though he's getting a lot of carry attempts, like nothing's opening up for him.
And you see what happens when you don't have Josh Jacobs. Like it looks different.
Yep.
Grass isn't always, the same. So it's like I said, it's a tough pill to swallow this week. I was irritated at watching the game. That was definitely the type of game that they did not need to be in. So hopefully, they kind of snap back and, start, kicking indoors.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us. I hope they get it right because, again, with Devontae Adams, they might piss away one of the greatest wide receivers' career. I mean, it's insane. Get him involved. That doesn't involve getting him killed across the middle. Like, it's insane what they've done to him throughout his career. He's a great wide receiver. You got to help him out. You got to get him involved in better ways. That's going to wrap it up for us. Hopefully the Raiders get a win next week. Hopefully Devontae Adams finally gets to shine and the Chicago Bears continue 2-0. That's going to wrap it up. Maybe we'll talk some more NFL tomorrow. But like I said, it's going to wrap up for the Dump Punt Hour. Shout out to Morning Pierson-El as always. We'll do it again tomorrow.